Today we will learn an interesting combo involving an empty knot and a knee shot. For those who don't know, an empty knot can be defined as the act of holding a closed loop of rope around a body part. Empty knots can be used to manage slack and help with transitioning between moves. During this combo, we are going to close a loop of rope around our thigh in between a thigh spin and a knee shot. Eve Harper Close was the first person to introduce me to the variation I will be teaching. I also want to give a huge thank you to Frank Hatzis for helping define some of this terminology. In order to learn this combo, it helps to have mastered the thigh spin that transitions from wall plane to wheel plane and the knee shot. Please check the descriptions for links to these tutorials. We will break this move down into two parts, then learn to tie them together. Let's get started. We start by getting into wall plane. To give us enough slack to execute the whole move, we grip our rope at about this length with our lead hand. To best demonstrate this move, I will start with my back turned. We will spin the dart towards our lead side. Okay, to break down the first part, we will execute the beginning of a thigh spin, pushing our rope from wall plane to wheel plane with the outside of our lead thigh. Unlike the thigh spin, however, we will hold our hand above our knee since our rope is longer and we don't want our dart to hit the ground. As we pivot into wheel plane, we catch the other section of rope that closes the loop around our thigh. We should make sure to still have enough rope in between our hands and the dart so that we can execute the rest of the move. This is what my grip looks like. Let's practice this step. Okay, during the second step, we pivot further in the same direction so that we are in the middle of wall plane and wheel plane, just like we were positioned during the knee shot tutorial. Now we are going to swing the dart under our inner thigh, then have it wrap around our knee so that we are in position to jerk our knee forward and execute a knee shot. Let's watch this step in slow motion a couple of times to make sure that we understand the full trajectory of our rope. Sweet. When we feel comfortable, we combine these two steps. We will need to get really good at balancing on our anchor foot, since we will need to start in wall plane and end in between wheel and wall plane, pivoting about 135 degrees. Let's watch the whole thing in slow motion. The dart goes under the outside of our lead thigh. As we pivot from wall plane to wheel plane, we close the loop around our thigh with our lead hand. Immediately, we direct the dart under the inside of our thigh so that it travels around our knee and execute a knee shot. Okay, that is one variation of this combo. It is a difficult maneuver, so please be patient with yourself. There are many other ways to execute empty knot knee shots. We can use our anchor knee. We can start with our thigh spin and wheel plane. We can shoot the dart out in the opposite direction. Please experiment in order to find out which variation pairs best with your flow. Finally, I want to express my controversial opinion about the general use of empty knots. I originally learned the move we just saw without fully closing the loop of the empty knot around my thigh. Can you tell in this video? Not really. I had no trouble executing this move without closing the loop. I decided to teach the closed loop version so we can really understand what an empty knot is. I also feel that during this move, closing the empty knot can be useful because it helps us gather more slack. Traditional martial arts rope dart dictates that closed loops are an essential component to executing certain moves correctly. There are many moves, however, where I do not focus on closing the empty knot loop. I often feel that closing the loop doesn't help me execute the move better or make it look cooler, so I don't need the extra distraction of having to think about it. When it comes to this particular foot shot, I actually think that closing the loop makes it more difficult to aim straight, which is the absolute last thing I want. In order to decide whether to implement a closed loop, I think that it is important to ask ourselves, what about this is improving my flow? Does it look cooler, feel cooler, improve accuracy? This utilitarian perspective can help us eliminate unnecessary hardship, allowing us to focus on our aim and graceful execution. I hope this helps. Love you guys!